Welcome, Joslyn Center Facebook Live fans. My name is Jack Newby. I'm Executive Director here at the Joslyn Center. Hope you enjoy our interview Friday today. We took a break last week because I was out of the office. So we'll catch you up on some of the things we're doing here at the Joslyn Center in the coming week. And if you want to learn more about that, you can sign up, go to our website at www.joslyncenter.org, and you can sign up for our email newsletter. But here's what's coming up, and it's in our email newsletter. So join our Lunch Bunch Quilting Club. That's on Tuesdays, 9 to noon. You have a great time chatting with a group, and if you want to learn quilting, there are many people that are experienced and they can help you with that, but it's a great time just to chat, quilt, and they do some really beautiful work. Also, especially with this heat, we are a cooling center. So if you are over 55, you can come to the Joslyn Center, you can enjoy our air conditioning and also engage in our programs and services. But you know, even if you have air conditioning at home, you can come here and use it, turn yours so it's not on all the time, and enjoy our air conditioned comfort and you know, have a snack and water. So that's the cooling center. So anytime it's over 100 degrees, we're open 8 to 5. We're closed on the weekends, but anytime between 8 and 5, if the temperature is over 100 degrees, you can come to the Joslyn Cooling Center. We also have, and we'll be talking about this a little bit later, our gardening club series with Julie, and that's on coming up on Monday, July 31st. So that's what we're going to be talking about in a few minutes. So you'll get more information on that. We also have case management program, and we work with the Medicare Center on that, and that's Monday, July 31st here at the Joslyn Center. So if you need some help, come on down and make an appointment with the case management program. I have a special thing coming up, the Palm Desert Golf Cart Parade. And we have a decorating crew. So we're going to be decorating a float. And if you'd like to be part of that team, contact Tom, T-O-M-M, at joslyncenter.org, or call him at 760-340-3220, extension 105, to sign up. And you'll have a great time and be involved in the famous Palm Desert Golf Cart Parade. Finally, coming up with our Wellness Center is Brain Boot Camp, and we scheduled a special session August 4th and then August 11th, and that's Fridays, 10 a.m. to noon. That's a great program to help you boost your memory and brain health, learn about brain health, and that's a special class. We are the only place in the Coachella Valley that does that class, and that's through the UCLA Longevity Center. We are licensed with them and trained by them to present this class. So it's a great two-session course. Call 760-340-3220, extension 117, and talk with Alex, and Alex will get you all registered for that course. So I mentioned earlier there we go. I mentioned earlier that we have a gardening class coming up, and so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about Medicare insurance a little bit briefly, because we have Julie Sarmiento, and she works with Bilhartz Desert Insurance, and she is also with the instructor or moderator of our gardening club. So Julie, time to join us. There you are. How are you this morning?
I am good. I'm good. And I'm going to go ahead and unblur me because I want to kind of show some of the stuff, little goodies that I have. So,
okay, great.
So,
So first, let's start and talk a little bit. You're with Bilhartz Desert Insurance. How long have you been with them?
Oh, gosh, since 2016. So,
Okay.
so coming 8 years, I think. With eighth season now.
So a lot of experience with Medicare, and I know Medicare Open Enrollment is in October.
Yes, starts in October, but we are starting now. So basically certifications are opening up for us. We do a certification called AHIP. It's really the beginning for us. And then once we complete that, then we get to then recertify with each of our their companies. We call them carriers that we work with. So for example, Scan, Humana, United Health, Aetna, United Healthcare, and so on. And really, the reason we do that is so that when we sit with a client, we are able to put them with what's going to be the best fit for them. So we're not because no one's a one size fits all, and everybody's needs are different. So and so in my case, and with a lot of our agents, I believe I contract with about 15 different carriers. So it's a little bit of work, and we generally start late June and work on this through roughly around October 1. So it's kind of a busy time for us. So it doesn't start, it starts for us, it starts now for us. So
Well, and also I think it starts now for people who are on a Medicare Advantage plan. And to really start thinking now about, are they happy with the plan? Is it meeting all their needs? Is it time for them to perhaps think about a change? Because once that open enrollment closes, when is that, in December?
closes December 7th. So it starts October 1. So absolutely, you're right, because during the year, people's needs change. Maybe an illness has come about, or medications change. Maybe you've had a doctor change, a medical group change. There's different needs that might require you to take a look at what you currently have to see if it's still the best fit for you. And that's what we can help, we can help you do.
So for our viewers, now's a good time to start thinking. And if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, now's a good time to start thinking about, whether it is meeting your needs. And in October, you can visit Julie or someone at Bilhartz Desert Insurance and receive free counseling about what programs are available and what Medicare, what Part D, the drug programs are available. And the nice thing that I've noticed with a lot of the Medicare Advantage plans, traditional Medicare covers medical expenses and hospital expenses, but they don't cover vision or hearing or those sorts of things. So a lot of the Medicare Advantage plans are also including those.
Yes, vision, dental, hearing, transportation to and from doctor visits. They offer over-the-counter help, meaning things that you would pick up in a pharmacy, like your aspirins, your pain relievers, you can get your vitamins. If you wear a hand brace or a knee brace, things like that. Just items that you could pick up in a pharmacy. A lot of times they're in catalogs, and they'll give you allowances, from $50 every 3 months, sometimes up to over $100 every 3 months, and they ship it to you. So these are nice little additions that come.
Oh, and some of those things in the pharmacies, they're expensive. Some of those what they call over-the-counter drugs. So that's a great benefit. Yes. Finally, just one thing, and sometimes we have people come in and they say, I'm turning 65, I don't know what I need to do. One of the things they need to do is sign up for Medicare.
Yes, absolutely. So what that is, so when someone's turning 65, they have a 7-month window, and it's called their initial enrollment period. So let's say if somebody's going to turn 65 in October, okay, so their Medicare window would have opened up on July 1st. So from July 1st, that's when they can look at applying for, maybe they want to apply for their Medicare card. So if that person is not on an employer plan, and they don't, let's say they don't plan on keeping an employer coverage. Let's say they're on a covered California plan, let's just say. Then that person's going to need to apply for their Part A, which is their hospital, and their Part B, which is their medical. So July 1st is the time that that person can do that. Then once they have that card, then I can sit with that person, I can help them apply for the card too. Then I can sit with that person and look at his or her medications, whoever their doctor is, and I can help them find a plan that's going to give them, I'm looking at doing two things: help them keep that doctor, stay within the medical group they want to stay in, and help them find the lowest medication cost. Once I've achieved those two, then I will also ask them, are you seeking certain services like mental health services? I always ask that question because that's a service that can range quite significantly on different plans, from a zero copay up to $30. So if that's something that someone is seeking on a regular basis, I want to make sure I find a plan that it's not going to be expensive for them. So those are the types of questions I'm asking to really try to find a plan that's really going to be suited to their needs.
Well, and really, even if you are working and have insurance through your employer, you still have to sign up for Medicare Part A within that window.
Yes, absolutely. You sign up for the Part A and then you just hold on to that, because if you have worked and paid into Social Security at least 10 years or the 40 quarters, then there's no cost for you. You've earned that Part A. Then you have the Part A, and then you can hold off taking Part B, because that's what you're going to be paying for once you do take it. So absolutely, you can keep your employer coverage, and in most situations, you can keep the employer coverage and then just hold off taking the Part B until you're ready to retire.
Just so people understand, Part A is hospitalization, and Part B is medical services. Doctor visits and that sort of thing. And so we want to get into the gardening class just, real quick for people. If you don't sign up within that window, there's a lifetime penalty for not signing up.
In both sections. So there's a lifetime penalty for the Part A, and for the Part B, and also for the drugs. So if you don't have a credible drug plan through your employer, you'll get penalized for not having the drug coverage. So it's really, really important. It's really important to come on board when you're supposed to, or at least have what we call it in the industry, having credible coverage. So really important.
Thank you, Julie, for covering that. I think it is important. Now let's talk about the fun thing. And that's the gardening club.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit how that came about.
Okay. Well, so way back a few years ago, so Melanie Lyons and we've been talking about this for a while. So back when she was with, Desert Hot Springs Senior Center, she and I started kind of talking about it a little bit. And then it kind of got put on the back burner with when wonderful COVID came along. But then earlier this year, we started talking about it again, and we just said, okay, we just need to make this happen. So we first decided in May to start it, because I thought, okay, well, it gives us roughly 4 months, ideally in our desert area. And for those folks of you who have lived in like LA County, normally gardening starts, you start your summer garden, or you would start your garden in let's say around April 1st. It is completely different here. Here, gardens start October 1, because as you all know, our summers are incredibly hot. Nothing survives our summers. So our ideal garden season is from October 1 through roughly the end of April, the end of May, if you're lucky. Okay. By then, after the end of May, it's getting really, really warm beyond that point. So with that in mind, we did our first class in May, and our first class was on composting. So basically in that class, we talked about what types of food items are compostable, what we could do at home. and just did a course on how, what we could do in our home environment. And then in our June class, what we did is we did seed selection. And so with the help of some members, we picked some seeds, and I went through a company called Baker Creek's Heirloom Seeds, and partly because they had a beautiful catalog that I could order, and a lot of the seed catalogs were online. So, and I thought, well, I want something that people can touch and feel and browse through. So I was able to, so these were just some of the selections, and they just had some marvelous seeds. So there was about 5 of us that picked some seeds. And so that's what we did. That's what we did in June. And so later this month, what we are going to do is we're going to take some of those seeds and we're going to plant them. Because the idea is some of these seeds are more of warm weather, like our peppers, our tomatoes, our green beans. Those are more warm weather crops. So we're going to be, the idea would be to start them as seeds, so that by the end of September, early October, we have some nice seedlings some plants that we can actually put into the ground. And then they get a head start, because we'll still have some warm weather, obviously in October, November, and even probably into a little bit of early December. And we can, I've harvested tomatoes actually in late December before. So that's the idea. And then our plants like beets, carrots, broccoli, even maybe we'll do some seeds from broccoli or cauliflower, even those we can put into the ground, because those are cooler weathers. Those are cooler weather plants. And so that's the idea of what we'll do for July. And I'm going to pick this up kind of gingerly, but the idea too is, I don't know if you can see this, but I came up with the idea of where these are actually just containers that have red lids that go on the top of them. And I decided, well, I could put one on top of the other, put dirt in the bottom of it. And I actually planted some seeds in here. They haven't sprouted yet, but this is the idea. I'll bring something like this to the class, and everybody will have one, and everybody can pick, their seed selections at, 1 or 2, and they can take those home and nurse them in their, hopefully, I'm hoping everybody has a little sunny spot or somewhere where they can have this in their home, because it's obviously too hot to have them outside. But
I can relate. When I first moved here, I was always a gardener as a kid, and won prizes at the LA County Fair for some of the tomatoes and carrots that I grew. And I tried it here, and I just got frustrated, because you're right, in the summer it just kills them. And I had pretty big plot in my side yard at my house, which is actually still there. And now you've inspired me to look at that again, and maybe plant some plants and start like what you said, get some seedlings going. So it sounds like a lot of fun. And what are some of where are the plots where these plants are going to be put?
So basically on San Pablo, just literally down the street from Joslyn Senior Center, there are 4 sections, and they're named according to the streets. There's, I think it's Santa Rosa, there's Catalina, or let's see, Guadalupe, Santa Rosa, San Nicolas, and Santa Rosa. I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed. Guadalupe,
that's okay.
Catalina, oh gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, there's 4 of them. I have 2 plots in Catalina that I've literally had for 12 years. So what, I know Melanie and I had talked about, she was looking at getting a grant to build a space behind the theater. And we're still kind of not sure if that's going to happen or not. So in the meantime, what I did is I called the city of Palm Desert and I said, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Well, they gave us 3 plots at, I think, San Jacinto, plot the section next to Catalina. So it's what we'll be able to do. So we're going to have 3 that will be designated for Joslyn Senior Center, plus I'll still have my 2. And between the 5, we'll have that. And then I'm not, if we do get the ones behind, if we do get the funds to build at the area behind the theater, then we'll have a nice little long section that'll run along the chain link fencing behind the theater area behind.
That sounds like a lot of fun, and it really is. Sounds like a great class. Is there, so people could just drop in the classes? The next one is July 31st. And what time does that run?
It runs from like 9 to 10 in the morning, I believe.
Okay.
There's a flyer. There are flyers in the front of the entrance of the building, when you come in.
Okay,
So,
and it is in our email newsletter. So if people are interested in this, you can go to joslyncenter.org and sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get information not only on this class, but on some of the other things that I talked about earlier. And just to inspire people, you've had 2 plots. What are the sorts of vegetables that you're able to grow fresh and harvest and eat?
well, this year I grew, tomatoes, cilantro, peppers, all different types of peppers, poblanos, jalapenos, broccoli, cauliflower. I grow Swiss chard every year, bok choy. I've grown green beans in past years, beets. I don't know if I said beets, carrots. I grew this year. I grew beets every year. And then so those I grew in the garden plots. I mean, this year has been amazing. I don't know if it's because of the weather or if it was partly weather and the what I put in the ground as far as the sludge from the composting. But it was just amazing the amount of produce that came off of the tomato plants. But between the plots, and then I also do have 15 wine barrel planters that I have at home that I grow as well. I would estimate, when I did weigh the produce, sometimes I would just weigh a bag and it would be about 10 pounds. So I would estimate, just because I didn't weigh every single time, but I would estimate between my friends and we probably grew at least 200 pounds worth of produce this year.
Wow. I mean, so people will be able to have fresh produce for their home and also be able to give it to their friends.
Right.
And, I'll share with you this other story. When I first started gardening as a kid, I grew tomatoes. And I remember eating the first one. And I told my mom, I said, this doesn't taste like a tomato. And she said, no, that's what a tomato is supposed to taste like. And the difference between even the vine ones that you buy at the store, the difference between a store-bought tomato and one that you just take off the vine, it's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing. So again, the next class here is July 31st. Join Julie for that class, learn more about gardening. And we've got a few plots just less than a block away from the Joslyn Center.
We've got lots of seeds, so yeah.
Well, Julie, I want to thank you for joining us today. We went a little longer than usual, but that's okay because we had a couple important things to talk about. So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Again, that reminder for people, start thinking about if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, start thinking about it, because that open enrollment is going to come up soon and you want to make the right decision. So, and also, if you want to have a good time and eat healthy and have some fresh fruits and vegetables in your home and you can share with your friends, join us with our gardening class. So thank you, Julie. If you want more information, visit joslyncenter.org and you can find out all about our programs and services. So everyone have a great weekend. Thank you again for joining us, Julie. We will, I might drop into your class.
All right.
The
Please go.
31st. All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.